Good morning class, welcome to the live online classes. Today I am going to start a new chapter number 7 in history for class 6, the Vedic Age. By the term Vedic, it means of or relating to the Vedas, okay? The religious books, okay? Or to the ancient Sanskrit that was written in the past. So, we are studying about the Vedic Age, part 1. You can refer to page number 56 in your textbooks. The Harappan civilization, which developed or grew for more than 1,000 years, began to decline, or there was girawat or downfall, or the Harappan civilization waned, okay, during the 1500 BC. It was during this period or during this time that the Aryans, okay, so these are the people who came to India, okay, who arrived in India and laid the foundation of the Vedic Age. It is said that the Aryans were pastoral people. Now, these Aryans were basically pastoral people or village people, okay, or rural people whose occupation was to graze animals or livestock on a particular land, okay. It is said that the Aryans were pastoral people who originally lived in the Caspian Sea area. So, these Aryans came from the Caspian Sea. And what was their occupation? Their occupation was, okay, grazing livestock. Okay, it might be cattle, it might be goat, it might be sheep, etc. on grass or on a pasture. So, these Aryans basically came from the Caspian Sea area, okay, Caspian Sea area, and their occupation was grazing livestock. They were pastoral people, P-A-S-T-O-R-L. So, they were village people, okay. And this Caspian Sea area is the area where you have Central Asia. So it belongs to an area where you have Caspian, where you have Central Asia. It is said that the Aryans were pastoral people who originally belong to the Caspian Sea area of Central Asia. As the population increased, as the number of people increased, they moved from one place to another, from one country to another. And they moved towards Europe. So these Aryans basically when the population grew and they needed more food, more shelter, and as well as more land, they migrated from one place to another. Some of them came to Europe, okay, or went to Europe. Some of them went to India. Okay? In search of new pastures or land for food, fodder for animals, as well as shelter, okay, the basic needs of the people. Some of them went to Europe, while others came to India, and when they came to India, they entered through, okay, South Asia. So they came all the way from South Asia and entered from this side. And you can go to page number 57 to look at this figure where you find, okay, here is the area which they settled first. So this is the area, the first area which they settled first, and they move on to another area here which is marked with yellow, okay. So I am coming to that. So they entered South Asia through the passes of Hindu Kush mountains. So we are talking about the mountain passes which are located in this area. So you can see here, okay, here is a map, another map, okay. Here is Hindu Kush. Hindu Kush is a pass, okay, mountain pass. And we have another pass also. Khyber Pass is here, as well as Bolan Pass is here, okay. There are three passes here. Hindu Kush Pass, okay, as well as Bolan Pass, as well as Khyber Pass. So through this area, they came to India from the northwest side, okay. So Khyber Pass is in the north and Bolan Pass is in the south around 1500 BC. So they came to India through the Hindu Kush mountain pass. Those who came to India came to be known as Indo-Aryans. So when they came to India and settled down in India, they were called by a name. That name was known as, okay, not Aryans, okay, but also they were called as Indo-Aryans. Indo-Aryans, okay. And who are the Indo-Aryans? Now, Indo-Aryans are the people, okay, we call like Indo-Europeans. They are Indo-European people, okay. Indo-European people, okay, who is of, so as the word Aryan, okay, I forgot to mention this one also. Aryan means noble one. The word Aryan means noble one or superior one, okay. They were superior in race that was found in India, okay, superior one, okay. Now, they were Indo-European people and they spoke Indo-European languages. The languages were basically Hindi, Bengali, Punjabi, Marathi, Gujarati, Odia, Sindhi, okay, Sinhal and Assami also, okay. So I want to tell you another thing about these Aryans. The Aryans first settled in present day Pakistan and Punjab in India. So when they came to India, they came from the northwest side and the first place they settled down was near Pakistan, okay, and Punjab. Remember that. So where is Pakistan and Punjab? Okay. Now it is located here. Okay. It is located here. You can go to your textbook on page number 57. There you find a pink, okay, colored map here. This is the area where you find Pakistan and Punjab. This is the first place they settled down when they came from the Caspian Sea area. Okay. In search of food, pasture and shelter. Okay. The civilization which developed during this age came to be known as Vedic civilization. So when these people came to India and settled down in India, they established a new civilization. This civilization was called the Vedic civilization because they were speaking in Sanskrit language, okay, as well as what we call the civilization Sabhyata, okay, Sabhyata we call it, the stage of human development and organization that is very, very advanced is known as civilization. When the Indo-Aryans came to India, they had to face resistance. Now, when they came from the foreign country, okay, they migrated from the foreign country and came to India, they found opposition because the original, okay, people who were living in India did not wanted outsiders to capture the land, okay. So, when the Indo-Aryans came to India, they faced many resistance from the local inhabitants. These were local inhabitants means aborigines, okay. They are aborigines, original people of India, okay, who were living in India, okay. And Indo-Aryans call them by the name as Dasyus. Dasyus, Dasa or Dasas and or Pannis, okay. Now Pannis are another group, okay. Number one is this one, number two. These were two types of people who were living in India, okay. And these people did not wanted foreigners or Aryans to settle down in India, okay. So I want to tell you a little bit about this, okay, conflict, okay. There was a tribal conflict, okay. So I'm just rubbing the blackboard. There was a tribal conflict between, okay, between Aryans who came from the Caspian Sea area and Dasyus and Pannis. Are you understanding? So you can see the first group of Aryans fought against Dravidians and other inhabitants. So they were called Dravidians, okay, Dravidians, Dravidians, and they were the original inhabitants of India, okay, whom were defeated by the Aryans, okay, who came from the Caspian Sea area. They were much more advanced, superior in race. They were inferior class. They were inferior in race also. They were inferior in complexion also, okay. I am coming to that also, okay. And when they defeated, they pushed this Dasyas and Dasyus, okay, or Dasyas are called, okay, Dasas also. Dasa means servants. Later on we come to know they were called servants. They were pushed, okay, to the brink of South India. In South India, they were pushed. So the first group of Aryans fought against Dravidians and other inhabitants whom they defeated and pushed them down towards South India. The enemies were described by the Aryans as Pannis and Dasas. Dasas means servants. Das means servant, no slave. The Pannis were cattle thieves. Okay, the Pannis, you can see, they used to steal cattle, whereas Dasa were inferior in complexion. Their complexion was dark as compared to the Aryans, who were fair complexion, as they were what we call dark skinned. Okay, so Dasas were basically dark skinned people, okay, whereas Aryans were fair skinned people. Okay, and Dasa had flat face features. Okay, the word Dasa means a slave. Now you can see why the Aryans came to India. They came to India to basically in search of land, water, food, fodder, etc., as well as shelter. When they came to India, they found there was already in India there were original peoples who were living in India. They were called Dasa and Panni, and they fought with each other, and later on we come to know that the Aryans defeated this Dasa and Pannis and ruled North India, whereas in South India they were sent to South India. When the Indo-Aryans came to India, they had to face resistance from the local inhabitants. So these local inhabitants are Pannis and Dasas. Okay, the Aryans first settled in the region of Sapta Sindhu. Okay, now this is the region where they settled down. So these Aryans who came from the Caspian Sea area first settled down in Punjab and Pakistan. This area have 7 rivers. This 7 river is also known as Sapta, I'm breaking the word, Sindhu. Okay, the Aryans first settled down in the region of Sapta Sindhu, that is the region of 7 sacred rivers. Okay, these 7 rivers were the 5 rivers of Punjab. Okay, 5 rivers of Punjab. Okay, namely Satluj, Ravi, Bees, Chenab, and Jhelum, along with the Indus River. Okay, the Indus River is also called Sindhu. The Indus River is also called by a name. The Sanskrit name is Sindhu, S-I-N-D-H-U, Sindhu. Okay, now if you want to look at the Sanskrit name, you can refer to your book and go to page number 64. Into the key terms, you have the name of the rivers as well as the Sanskrit name of various rivers. Okay, like Satluj is Satadru, Bipasa is Bees, Asikni is Chenab, Parusni is Ravi, Vitasta is Jhelum, and Sindhu is Indus. Okay, now I have said 6 rivers, the 5 rivers of Punjab plus Indus plus the most important river where they wrote the religious textbook was known as Saraswati. Saraswati River. Now, you don't find this Saraswati River today. Why? Because it has dried long ago. Okay. So, these are the 7 rivers. Okay. Satluj, Bees, Ravi, Chenab, and Jhelum are the 5 rivers of Punjab plus Indus plus Saraswati. The region covers the present areas of eastern Afghanistan. Now, to tell you, the exact location, this area where the Indo-Aryans first settled down is not only in Pakistan and Punjab, but it is the area where you find Afghanistan. Okay. Now, another thing that you have to understand is Punjab. Then it also touches parts of western Uttar Pradesh. Parts of western Uttar Pradesh also. Okay. So, this is the area where they first settled down. Now, I am coming to the map here. You can refer to the page number 57 here. Now, if you look at this map, it is colored in 2 different colors. One is pink, one is yellow. These are the 2 places where Indo-Aryans lived. They first lived in the pink area then they moved on later to the yellow area. So I am dividing this period into two halves, okay? The period between, so look at the board nicely, the period between 1500 BC to 1000 BC. Now remember this one. The period between 1500 BC to 1000 BC, during which Aryans settled down in this region called Sapta Sindhu. Is known as the, okay, number one, I'm writing here, early Vedic, okay, age or period. Okay, now you can see this is known as the early Vedic age, from period 1500 BC to 1000 BC. Now if you go to, okay, go to your textbook, you find this is because much of our information, much of the information or story that we get in our books, okay, about this period is derived from the Rig Veda, the oldest religious textbook in the world, okay, which was written near the river Saraswati and Indus, on the banks of the river Saraswati and Indus, okay, which was composed during this period. So which was written during this period. So this Rig Veda, okay, not Rig Veda, gives us information about the people who settled down during this period. And this period is known as early Vedic period, okay? That is why this period is also known as the Rig Vedic period. It is not only known as early Vedic period, it is also known as Rig Vedic period or age. It is also known as Rig Vedic period or age, okay? After crossing Punjab, so as they moved from Punjab, from the pink area, the Aryans moved ahead and settled down in the Gangetic Valley. So when they moved from Punjab, they settled down in another area. That area was known as Gangetic Valley. It was known as Gangetic, Gangetic Valley. So they moved from South Sindhu and moved to the Gangetic Valley, the second place where they settled down. This Gangetic Valley is also known as, okay, Gangetic Plains, or, okay, what we call Ganga, Brahmaputra, Doab regions also we call it, okay. So this is the area which we call, okay, where you have the Great Indian Plains, where lots of agriculture is practiced because there are lots of rivers flowing through, okay, that area, and basically empties its water into the Bay of Bengal, okay. So we are talking about this Gangetic Valley now. So the period, okay, between, okay, so I am drawing, the period between 1000 BC to 600 BC. Now you can see the dates from 1500 BC to 1000 BC, from 1000 BC to 600 BC, okay, during which the Aryans settled down in the Gangetic Valley. In the Gangetic Valley is known as the, okay, later Vedic age. So it is known as the later, okay, later Vedic age or period, okay. So I am writing it here, you hope you can see it. So this is known as the early Vedic period, this is known as the later Vedic period. So why? Because they settled down here in Sub-Sindhu, here they settled down in the Gangetic Valley. These two places they settled down when they moved from the Caspian Sea area and lived here, okay, in northern India. They occupied the whole northern India, okay. So in course of time, they conquered or they captured the whole of northern India, whereas the Dasas and the Panis settled down in the South India. And they call the North India as Aryavarta, the land of the Aryans. The land of the Aryans was the North Indian side. Okay. So how we come to know about the story of the later Vedic age and the early Vedic age? It is due to the sources of the Vedic age. What minute was? What minute what?
20
Huh?
20 minutes and 30 seconds.
Huh?
20 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay, now I just want to do this sources of Vedic age first, okay? So SOURCES, sources of Vedic age. Now how we come to know about the early Vedic age and the later Vedic age? It is due to these various sources, okay? In a book, it is also known as Vij. Okay, I'm coming to this, okay? Vij in Sanskrit means roots or knowledge, wisdom, or it is also known as a vision, okay? It is known as what we call Veda. It is known as Veda. So the Vij is also known as Veda. So Veda was the source, okay, which gave us information and, okay, about the social, political, economic and religious life of the people living in the early and later Vedic age. Before we proceed to discuss the Vedic civilization, it will be useful for us to have some idea about its sources. So what is the source of this early and later Vedic age? It is the Veda. What is Veda? Veda is a Vedic literature. Veda is a Vedic literature. Now, what is the literature? You know it? So, it's the Vedic literature. The most important source of the Vedic civilization are the Vedas. So the most important source of the Vedic civilization, how we come to know about these people who are living in, okay, Sub-Sindhu as well as in the Gangetic Valley is due to the Vedas. The oldest religious books of the Indians, okay? The word Veda comes from the Sanskrit. It means, okay, Vij. It means which. It means, Veda means V-I-J, Vij. Vij means roots. It means roots. It means knowledge. It means wisdom. Okay? Not only that, it also means a vision. Now you have many ample meanings there, okay? The Vedas are a collection of hymns. The Vedas are what? They have H-Y-M-N-S, hymns. What is a hymn? Hymn means bhajan. Bhajan, okay? Are you understand? Prayers. What are prayers? Pratna, okay? Or solemn request to God for help or what we call thankfulness, okay? Then what are charms? So the Vedas contain hymns, prayer, okay? Okay, then it also contains charm, C-H-A-R-M, charm. Charm means what we call it, okay, what we call it, fascination, okay? Then it also contains, okay, L-I-T-A-N-I-E-S, litanies, okay? It also contains litanies. Litanies means recitation or narration, okay? And also the Vedas contains sacrificial formulas, okay? Or formulae. Now, whenever I am talking about sacrificial formulae, we are talking about, okay, I am, okay, basically talking about connection with animal sacrifices or sacrificing your personal belonging, okay, to praise the God, okay. There are actually two main sources which gives us information about the early Vedic age and the later Vedic age. These two sources are basically known as literary sources and, okay, archaeological sources, which we basically have done in the previous lesson, okay. There are two sources, okay, of the Vedic age. One is L-I-T-E-R-A-R-Y, literary source, and another one is A-R-C-H-A-E-O-L-O-G-I-C-A-L, archaeological S-O-U-R-C-E, source. What is a literary source? Literary source includes anything that is written. Anything that is written, or it might be a written literature in the form of books, biographies, etc. And literary sources are basically religious and non-religious texts. I think you remember now, okay? They are also known as religious and non-religious texts. Falls in the category of, okay, literary sources. Anything that is in a written form. Anything that is in a written form is known as basically literary source. So what is an archaeological source? Okay, now I want to tell you about archaeological sources just now only. Okay, archaeological sources includes material things, including buildings, houses, pottery, seals, coins, monuments, as well as inscriptions, that is writing and paintings on stones or walls, tools, jewelry, bones left over by the people who have been dead long ago, okay, and pieces of metal that was found buried inside the earth and which was found by the archaeologists, okay, and other artifacts that was made by the man, okay, is known as an archaeological source. These are the two sources that you have to remember. Okay, with this I have completed the introduction. In the next class, I'll be doing types of Vedic literature. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.